What's up, guys? So today I'm back in the shop working on this Fox Body Mustang drag car, unfortunately. But where I left off last, we thought we were gonna be able to get this thing completely painted. But the owner changed the color in the middle of it, decided to go back to the original color, and we were delayed for like 4 or 5 days. So now we're finally back on this thing and we're about to finish it up for real. So y'all remember I had the firewall, had to do some body work on. I took the liberty to go ahead and get started, got that up there pretty much done, and this down here is an absolute pain. Had one little spot here on the quarter panel, still have a little spot here on the quarter panel. And then on the trunk lid, I have some little miscellaneous holes that I need to fill in. So this evening, the game plan is to go ahead and get all that body work finished up so I can get it primed. And then that way, tomorrow, we can get out here, get this stuff final sand, and finally get this joker in the paint booth, sprayed, reassembled, and ready to go home. Alrighty guys, so we got the firewall sanded and we got some primer on it. I don't know if you can tell right there, but I was having some issues with that gun. Evidently I didn't get it clean enough last time and there was still a little bit of issue with it, so it was spitting chunks all over. So that primer looks absolutely horrible, but I do think that it's all gonna sand out nice and smooth. So he told me he did not want the firewall perfect, so he didn't want me to take time to guide coat and block it to get the body work perfectly straight on that. He just wanted it to look decent, and it looks pretty decent. This primer has a little bit of a gloss to it, so I can kind of see what it's going to look like. I think we're going to be just fine right there. But that quarter panel is still giving us just a little bit of problem above the tail light, and I'll show you guys that real quick. So if you're looking down the side, you can tell the body line kind of runs right there, and we can see, looking at it right there, you can tell we got a little bit of issue right there. So what I'll have to do is tomorrow get out here first thing, block that, go ahead and get it body worked so I can prime it, because this primer that I'm using can be sanded within an hour to 2 hours, so we just kind of have to play it by ear. But we'll mix up a little bit of that in the morning and go ahead and get on that spot. But I think this is going to be where we want to be able to sand everything down for a final sand so we can start getting some color on the body to start putting everything back together. The trunk lid is a little worse than I thought, so it's going to take some time and it's going to be a day behind the body, but I need to get the body painted tomorrow so that it's ready to go. So that's kind of why my focus is 100% right there. And since the trunk lid has some issues, I'm not wasting a whole bunch of time on that right now. So I want to get the body done so we can get the doors and the fenders and the hood on it so he can at least get it back to work on it, because I am fixing to go out of town for a week. But I think I'll have all this done so he'll be able to pick it all up at the same time. But we need to get the body done primarily. So now that the primer's on, I'm going to call it a night tonight. We'll get out here in the morning, get that quarter panel squared away, get everything else wet sanded, and hopefully tomorrow we're spraying some color. All right, guys, so next day, I ended up coming back out here last night and sanding everything down and going ahead and hitting that spot on the quarter panel and got that fixed, so that is good to go. I have spent all day, in case you can't tell by how covered in dust I am, actually block sanding this thing out. There were still a couple of spots that I hadn't blocked, so this thing is pretty much completely blocked out now and everything looks good, so it's pretty much ready to move it outside. I'm gonna go ahead and run over it with the DA with 320, so that way it knocks out the bulk of the sanding, and then I'll just final sand it with 600 grit. So we're getting close, but it's getting late in the afternoon. This has took pretty much all day to get to this point. So I was hoping to paint it today, and now it's raining. So I don't know if I'll actually get to do that or not. If I don't, then it'll be in the morning. But we will have this thing 100% ready today. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Go ahead and roll it outside, and I'm gonna go play in the rain and get this thing sanded, and then we should be good to go. All right, guys, so I've spent several hours out here wet sanding on this thing, trying to get it ready. And let me tell you, this firewall, as well as the door jambs and inside the coil pocket here, is an absolute pain to prep for paint. When he brought it over initially, I wasn't planning to have to do all of that, but he wants all of that painted the same color as the car. So what he wants, he gets. So anyway, he's paying, I'm doing whatever. So we'll just tack on a little bit for the extra time, because it did take quite a while. But the babysitter's got to leave, and the baby's inside ready for dad. So I got to go inside. And anyway, my poor little piece of 600 grit sandpaper is, well, it's spent. It's not any good, and this is the last piece I got. So gonna have to go get some of that. Got to go wash the baby. So that's where I'm gonna have to call it for today. But at least most of the hard stuff is prepped and ready to go, so I can get out here first thing in the morning. We'll hit the driver's side quarter panel and the roof, and then we should be ready to get this thing in the booth. We'll let it sit for a little bit so that it can dry after being wet sanded, and then hit this thing with sealer, base coat, and clear. So we're gonna get this thing sprayed, and it's gonna look pretty good. I think you guys could tell in the B-rolls that I threw in there. Once we wet this thing, simulating clear coat, the body work on that side is absolutely straight, and that's the side that I was the most worried about, because that's the side that was crashed. So it's looking pretty good, and I think he's gonna be really, really happy with it. So anyway, I'm gonna call it a day, and then we'll get out here tomorrow early when it's much less hot, because it is a hot one today, fellas. We'll get out here when it's much less hot, get this thing dialed in, and we'll shoot some paint tomorrow. After what felt like an absolute eternity, we have the car now masked off and ready for the final wipe down and spray. I do still have a couple bars to cover up here, but I'm gonna go in the house and grab some tin foil and kind of squeeze on there and cover those up. But everything is looking real good. And let me tell y'all, I have figured out, well, I say I figured out, I learned a new trick for masking off like door openings, window openings, and stuff like that that don't have, you know, something you can tape to. And that's using these drop cloths. And I've been using them for a very, very long time. And they always were like super loose, and like if the wind blew or whatever, it may blow some trash up. But I was watching the good old Tickety Talk the other day while having my coffee. And I saw a guy who would put his tape in there, and then he put the drop cloths up there, and then take the heat gun to them, and he would shrink them, and it would tighten them up. Check this out. There's hardly any movement right there at all. So most people would say Tickety Talk is useless, but I finally found some value in it after having it for like 6 years. I finally learned something. But anyways, now that all this is finally finished up and this thing is ready to be sprayed, it's now time to finally go ahead and wipe this thing down and shoot it with some sealer so that it can sit a few minutes. And it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so I need to get on the ball and go ahead and get this done, because we know that with my paint booth, the later that it gets, the more chances we have of bugs coming in. So I'm gonna get some sealer mixed up, get this thing wiped down, and we're gonna get this joker in one color. Alright guys, so we have 2 good solid wet coats of sealer on the car, and everything is looking absolutely phenomenal. The body work is 100% perfect. The body line that we had to build on this passenger side looks great. This thing, if you haven't watched the other videos, this body line on this side was pretty much non-existent whenever the car got here. So we had to build out that entire thing by priming it, putting tape up, blocking it, priming it, blocking it, priming it. It took several times, but we finally got that body line back, and it's looking really, really good. So now it's time for us to finally go ahead and start spraying some base coat. I've got it mixed up and in the gun. So I've got to fix something on the wheel arches. The tape is kind of coming loose, so that's not good. We need to fix that. So I got to run a couple pieces of tape, stick that back up there. We're gonna spray some base coat, start seeing how this Joker's actually gonna look. Alrighty guys, so we finally got this Fox Body Mustang painted and pushed out here in the sun, and I got to say this thing looks absolutely insane. We 100% nailed the bodywork all over. The doors are straight, the fenders are straight. This quarter panel on the passenger side was an absolute nightmare, but we have that Joker 100%. The body line that we had to build is perfectly straight, looks absolutely phenomenal. There's one or two runs in the whole car. I've got one in each door. I've got one in this passenger quarter panel. I'm gonna have to scrape those out, buff them out, and all that stuff. But we're ready to start putting this thing together. I'm not gonna cut and buff anything until everything's back on the car. So I'm gonna go ahead right now, get the front fenders and the bumper and get all this stuff put on. We're gonna start seeing this thing start coming together. Then we'll hang the doors, and then we're gonna call the owner of the car. He's gonna go ahead and come get it and take it back home because I'm leaving tomorrow night. I'll be out of town for a week. So he's gonna come get it. That way it's back at his house. He can start putting the engine in it or whatever it is he wants to do to start getting this thing all the way together and ready to hit the track. So gonna get all this stuff put on, give him a call. I think he's gonna be really happy with this. I might be a little bit biased because I'm the one that did it, but this Joker's slick and I think it looks absolutely amazing. So anyway, that said, I'm gonna go ahead, get these parts put on. We're gonna see how this thing looks. All right guys, we finally got this thing assembled after paint, and let me say, this Joker looks absolutely insane. We did a ton of body work. We've got about around 43 hours in body work, block sanding, and getting this thing absolutely straight. So we put in a whole bunch of time over the last few weeks getting this thing ready. I think that the owner is going to be absolutely ecstatic with the way that this thing looks. I think it looks absolutely nuts with the bubble hood on the front and that carbon fiber front end. This thing is absolutely nasty, and it's definitely going to be one that turns heads at the drag strip, especially with the power this thing's going to be making and as light as it is. It's going to be a bad little car. But guys, I'm super excited to be done with this thing. Had a good time, but glad to have it out of the way because we got other stuff to work on. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out that one right there. YouTube thinks it's the best thing for you to watch next. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything on the channel. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one. Deuces.